Welcome to the High Vibe Show, living the high vibe life with me, your host, Elisa V. And together with my guests, experts in the art of living in a state of high vibration, we have got an amazing show for you today. My passion is to educate and inspire you to raise your frequency to a high vibrational state. Whether you're an awakened soul to the power of your own consciousness as a light being, or you're new to this spiritual path of expansion and growth, which is made possible through vibrating at a high level, you are in the right place. So stay here to experience fun frequency upgrades now, so you can manifest all you want and help to raise the collective vibration of our wonderful world. Let's hit the restart button and high vibe it together. The High Vibe Show starts now. Hello, and welcome to the High Vibe Show on this glorious Monday. I'm your host, the Queen of High Vibe, Elisa V, and you're in the right place if you're looking for ways to live a more fulfilling life and manifest your desires into reality. Today, I'm glad to have you here to bring you our third episode in my 10-part series entitled Secrets of High Vibe Wellness, in which Dr. Pat and I have teamed up to share some of the best kept secrets for embracing an empowered mindset and effective techniques to be a creator of well-being in your physical health, your emotional state, your relationships, finance, career, environment, and spirituality. And if you haven't seen the first two episodes, Discovering the Frequency Secrets of High Vibe Wellness and Activating High Vibe Frequency to Wellness, I strongly encourage you to do so. So today, I want to bring up a pretty important topic. How are you, Dr. Pat? So glad to have you here.
I am so excited about this. It is so excited because I'll tell you what, if there's anything that we get more triggered on in the world of psychology, there are two really things: your spouse cheating on you and money. Yeah. But today's not about our spouse. Today's not about our spouse or partner. It's about money, right?
Right. And I think everyone today can relate, right? I mean, people are struggling today to make ends meet or finding themselves unable to get ahead when it comes to getting out of debt. And these are just hard times financially. And it can drain your hope and just drag down your vibration, which is the worst place you can be.
Yeah, let's talk about this in a little bit. I want to really paint this picture the way you want this to go. And we've got a very special guest coming on, secret guest. So hold on. So when people talk to me about this, they always think it's about the dollar sign. But I just want to give you a quick example of the depth and the breadth of this. It's not just about the money in your bank account, the high vibration, right? All of this, and especially what you do, hitting the restart button, has to do with many things. For example, let me give you a bizarre situation real quick while we're waiting. I have a trademark that I've been using for over 15 years. It's the word unstuckable. I made the word up. A company just filed a trademark and won for that brand. And so I know, I mean, it's now I go into legal battles against them. And, how do you hold the Hawkins high vibe scale? Because even though it's not money, it is a prosperity trigger. You understand? It would be like somebody walking up to you and say, I'm going to take your hitting the restart button from you. And so I want to point this out to people, because the bottom line with everybody, all of you listening, it's not always about money that hits the trigger. Now, I will say about that situation, I am highly, highly, highly in the Hawkins scale, knowing that the right thing will happen. That's what today is about. So we have a very special guest. Do you want to introduce him?
Absolutely. So I'm so thrilled today to have our special guest, Mel Carmine. And think he should be getting on soon. We had a little technical problems here. But let me tell you a little bit about him in the meantime. Mel has been immersed in studying digital assets and is committed to sharing his insights on the new emerging ways of creating wealth. He's an expert on the archaic financial systems that control us, as well as the future financial model based on a quantum financial, or QFS, system manual and digital assets as currency. And with his motto, no one left behind, he's committed to educating the the public about the QFS and welcoming everyone into the biggest transfer of wealth of this millennium. He's also a humanitarian who has devoted himself to help people heal through his Staying Alive Wellness Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. And hopefully we will have him any minute. He had a little trouble signing on this morning.
Emily, how are we doing with Mel? Why don't we take a really short break? And when we come back, Mel for the tell.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the High Vibe Show. So we are so happy, Dr. Pat and I, to welcome Mel Carmine. He is now with us. He's our special guest today, and we are literally going to take a bit of a dive into, as the host of this show, right? I feel that we really need to focus on great things that are in the works behind the scenes and forthcoming. And Dr. Pat, I know you'd agree, we're trying to bring some secrets out to people. So as we focus on finance today and financial wellness, there are just certain things that we can do in our mindset and the way we view things, as well as, looking to the future, because when we are looking towards these happy, good, positive things, we're going to actually start to raise that collective vibration. So I want to jump right in, and, I want to kind of talk about something really interesting. I don't know how much of my audience is aware of what's kind of going on behind the scenes, but I wanted to tell them a little bit about NESARA and the QFS, and get your input, Mel, in terms of, it's a big topic, we could be here for hours, but sort of the most simplistic way of describing what NESARA is and how the QFS kind of fits into that.
Absolutely. And I thank you for inviting me. I'm honored. And I'll tell you the very first thing I'll tell you out of the gate is to go to QFS1776.com. It is the holy grail of what's to come, not maybe 100,000%, simply because we've had people from other parts of the world in other languages wanting to copy the website verbatim and take our videos and subtitle them because it's so well laid out. It's so elementary in nature. We found the most simplistic videos, the most simplistic things that we could put out there so that the average 75-year-old grandmother or 15-year-old kid that's basically distracted from his girlfriend can go there and get it and understand what it is implicitly. Now, when you get to the videos, there's about 31 of them, if I'm not mistaken. When you get down to number 9, it's not a video, it's the actual PDF. I'm going to repeat that. It's the actual original document that was drawn up in 1958, the original NESARA JSARA. Not too many people have that bragging right to be able to say that they have the original document of NESARA JSARA. We can implicitly because it's there. Okay. So if you read it now, whether they call it something else that makes sense and they find another acronym that makes more sense or makes less sense, it doesn't matter as long as the mechanics of it work exactly the same. Because look, we live in a world where you're being taxed 500-600 times a month. When you go out from now on, write down everything you buy and write down everything you're being taxed on. I bet you nobody will come under the number 300 by the end of the month. You buy a lot of things. Everybody, if you're a consumer, depending on your disposable income, you're going to buy a lot of stuff. And for people to say, hey, stop making waves, Mel, leave it alone, and live in a three-dimensional world where we're being taxed 75% of every dollar you earn, because that's exactly what you're being taxed, not just the 32%. You got a capital gains tax, you got a property tax, you got a sales tax, you got tax on everything, and you buy a lot of stuff, there's a lot of sales tax. When you calculate that all in, let's put the pen to the paper and let's sit down with Mel Carmine and let's talk about some real numbers. Okay. The system is broken. It's like two Lamborghinis came at each other at 250 miles an hour each, and they got into a head-on collision. And I'm talking about our political system and our financial system. It's busted.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can't take those two Lamborghinis and repair them back to original status after a 500-mile-an-hour impact. It's impossible. That's what we're in right now. It's got to be changed. Whether they call it NESARA JSARA or something else is irrelevant. What needs to change is the people, instead of arguing that NESARA JSARA is a hoax or NESARA JSARA is BS, go to my channel, go to my XRP QFS team with the number 1, and you'll see all the videos that we've made with people who have actually come forward with debt forgiveness, because we're moving in that direction. And there's hundreds of people underneath all of these videos that I've made for people with debt forgiveness basically saying, hey, I've had debt forgiveness too, but the last thing I want to do is come on your show. I want to stay under the radar because I'm afraid of the boogeyman,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
right? That's
so
the problem.
Dr. Pat, just if you wouldn't mind, I don't know, do you want to talk a little bit about maybe some statistics? I don't
No,
know.
I want to just chime in with Mel.
Oh, go
So,
ahead.
Sure.
Mel, in the state of Washington, it's a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, and an 18-wheeler Mack truck. Here's why, to your point. This is to your
Yes.
bleeping
Yes.
point. People in the state don't go to other states and see the gas at $2.39 or $3.99. In our state, our gas is $4.59. Why? It's a tax. We have tax on gas. Well, to your point, here's the 18-wheeler. This state in a survey was just pointed out to be one of the worst for small businesses. Why? State tax, luxury tax, B&O tax. So to your point, people don't even know what they don't know. And if they're not willing to pick up the rock and let stuff crawl out of it, you're never going to be able to change anything. And yet in this state, you ready for it? Do you know what it costs for your new tabs if you just bought a new car? Forget the sales tax, 9 point something percent. Your tabs, like the license tabs, like most other states, but in this state, $500.
Wow.
Who
That's
can afford
outrageous.
this? So that's all I
But
want
you
to say.
see,
To your
we have
point,
allowed to create this. We have allowed them to create this matrix, this hamster wheel, and
Yep.
they got us all thinking that if we could run just a little bit faster, we might just get to the carrot. But they keep moving the carrot over and over. They're making it harder and harder by increasing these taxes because they are in control of the machine. Okay,
Yeah.
so instead of, maybe you don't like the name Jassar Nassar. Maybe the name Jassar Nassar strikes you a little hokey pokey. Maybe it sounds too fantastical. Maybe it sounds too much fantasy. But you know what? Go read the document. Educate yourself. It's very well written. It's the original document for crying out loud, the one that was presented to Congress. Okay, and everybody realizes it makes perfect sense. Why do you think those buildings went down over in New York? You think that happened by chance? No, that happened because they needed a distraction because they didn't want Nassar Jassara to be in play.
So let me just give a little history to anybody who's joining us on this thing. So NASARA is actually a law that came into being as a result of, and I'm not going to get too into it, but basically it started with the farmers who sued the government for taking away their land. I'm simplifying it.
Correct.
However, it was passed by Congress on March 9th, 2000, and then signed into law on October 10th, 2000 by President Clinton. And it was to be announced, ironically, as Mel said, on September 11th, 2001. But as we all know, that never happened. And we're not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But suffice it to say, its implementation was delayed because it would have meant the arrest, the removal of many government officials, and a lot of changes that would impact a lot of people financially. So we're going to do another show, to go into detail. But for now, let's simply say that it's the end of debt and the beginning of a new golden age. And at the heart of Nassar Jassar is a new financial system. So,
but let's talk about this end of debt business for a minute.
Mhm.
May we, Mel?
Yeah, please.
Do you know how many Americans don't know that there are people still paying their EIDL COVID loan?
Yeah.
Do you, I mean, I just don't quite get how we're not getting it, Mel.
Well, because people are too distracted. We still have something called Tell a Lie Vision. We have a lot of fantastic shows, be it whether they're on, produced by independent people, and their intent is not to really distract you because these are all independent people trying to make a buck on YouTube or Rumble, etc. I'm very selective in what I watch. I watch what is the government doing, where's the money going, what's the next financial system that's coming, how do I stay healthy. I pay attention to the most important things. Now, I would love for the entire planet to be like me and perhaps like you ladies here, but the reality is we know that is not the case. The bottom line is we've been living in a tyrannical government system on this planet for a very, very long time. And to sit there and make fun of something you are refusing to read because you don't like the name or the name sounds too hokey pokey. Whatever your excuse is, there's no excuse. You got to read the document. You got to read the document. You got to get yourself educated. Then you go watch the videos. And I'm telling you, I've got at least 12 videos of people who came and say, yeah, I have no more credit card debt. Yeah, I have no more mortgage. Yeah, I have no more student loan. Yeah, I have no more car loan. And with documentation. You follow what I'm saying? See, because if I'm going to prove something, if I'm going to go out to prove something, I've got to be able to prove to the people beyond a shadow of a doubt. I'm not going to put my face here and tell you that, A is B and B is C unless I can prove it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It
And
does.
I've proven in spades. The comments underneath the videos, I think, speak multitudes, but the bottom line is people are refusing to educate themselves. And just because something sounds hokey, they got to make fun of it because they think by doing that, it makes them look intelligent when in reality, it makes them look ridiculous.
Well, Mel, I'd like to say something about that. Yes, there's that segment, but there's also people, I think people are so beaten down that they just, when they hear, right, because under NESARA, there's going to be debt forgiveness, right? Mortgages, credit card debts, all that. There's going to be things like, 6,000 patents of technology that have been hidden from us, but, medically and energy wise. When you say this, the end of the IRS, right? We kind of know that through the CARES Act, through Trump, they already pulled the Federal Reserve into the Treasury Department. But these are all things that are going on behind the scenes. So when you tell someone about NESARA GESARA, they're like, give me a break. That is so fantastical. There's no way. Taxes are a part of life. Debt is a part of life. Going to the doctor and spending thousands of dollars and not really getting a cure is a part of life. So I think part of what we're trying to do here and what Dr. Pat and I are trying to do is to kind of take some of the fantasticalness out of this, bring it down to a practical level and say, yes, there are things that are coming. You do need to educate yourself so that you're aware. And with that awareness, it's possible to be now putting out this, instead of this doom and gloom and low vibration, you're now putting out a hopefulness. You're spreading that vibration, not only within your own life, but to the people you come in contact with. I mean, does that sound like right? We have to change our mindset about the way we, because we're so beaten down to think that we're just never going to get ahead.
Absolutely. And it's changing the mindset is where it all starts. Regardless of what something is named, just because you don't agree with the name, that doesn't make it valid or invalid. That makes it that you don't like the name. Okay. So get over that hump and go read the document. And like you said, you nailed it. You got to educate yourself. I'm sure you know who Patrick Bet David is. He's only got about 9 million people following him on social media on YouTube.
Okay,
now,
great.
This is a guy. Yeah. Now, this is a guy that's worth about $50 million. So when the ex-pizza, impresario says something, it may be true. It may not be true. What do you know, Mel? You just make pizzas. You're messing around with flour and cheese. Well, you don't know nothing. This guy is worth probably, I would say, north of about $500 million conservatively. And he said that with his own mouth on a recent show, a webinar that I actually attended. He's talking NESARA GESARA. He's talking debt forgiveness. He's talking all kinds of stuff. He's talking 6,000 patents. He's talking 220 mile an hour, cars that get 220 miles an hour to the gas. In reality, we're way beyond that, but he knows how to stay under the radar. That's why I study him. And I wish I could become like him in many aspects down the road. And hopefully I will. When he says to you 220 mile an hour car that get 220 miles. No, he knows that Donald Trump is already talking about flying cars. He's seen the videos just like I seen the videos saying, we got to beat China. We got to beat Russia to the flying cars. We're way beyond that. We're ready to go graduate into free energy technology. We're not going to need to be able to pull over in the sky at a Hess station or an Exxon station and get some gasoline so that we can continue going at 17 Mach 17. You feeling me?
Yeah.
Okay. But see, when he starts to say it, he says it in such a way where he stays under the radar. He does it so sexy. And the fact that he's worth $500 million or $600 million and he lives in a $25 million home and he's highly successful, nobody can argue with that. That brings a lot of validity to the ex-pizzeria empresaria.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So we are, unfortunately, as time goes so fast, we're gonna, I kind of wanted to just end with, if you have something to say regarding how you have, how people, what advice you would give people to kind of be in that mindset like you have, a money magnet mindset, if we could end on that note.
Well, you never give up. You always look for the best people for the best job. Like we're in the EE system. We have the most amazing system in the world that allows the body, because the body wants to heal. Why is everybody dying at 75, 80 years old? Gee, I wonder, does it have to do with glyphosates? Does it have to do with Roundup? Does it have to do with the fact that the government has given these companies carte blanche to accelerate the killing machine, to allow them to put as much as they want on your product so that they kill you faster? Yes, yes, and yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
a lot of
absolutely.
this starts with mindset and being able to realize that, educating yourself and being willing to take on new ideas to, as to how we can become more abundant is
Right.
key.
But not just but not just abundant, but being able to hire the right people to do the right. Imagine if we had 100 million multi-billionaires in the world, all with a humanitarian mindset. What a different planet this would be. Instead of 7,200 multi-billionaires currently today, you look it up on Google, right? And they're all about their cocaine, champagne, their whores, their yachts, their houses all over the world that they don't visit sometimes for 5 years, and live in an incredible abundance, but their job is to make our lives miserable. That's how they got to where they want to get. Imagine having that switched around to where you have a million, even a million multi-billionaires and multi-trillionaires that are coming, okay, with this new financial system, that are here because they want to help humanity
Yeah.
excel.
Yeah. What a world. Well, I want to thank you for being here, Dr. Pat. Thank you for being part of this show. And, to everyone out there, to be continued with our secrets of high vibe wellness. If you'd like to learn more, certainly go to qfs1776.com for more of the
Correct.
videos that Mel is talking about. And we're going to be continuing our series on how to live in a high vibe state. Take care, everyone. See you next time. You've been listening to The High Vibe Show, living the high vibe life. I'm your host, Elisa V, the Queen of High Vibe. Join us every first and third Monday of the month at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. This is the place to come for you to have loads of fun, frequency upgrades now, and have great guests to hear all about raising your frequency. For more information, visit hittingtherestartbutton.com. See you next time.